Welcome in to the latest episode of the Betting the Pitch Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, the real underscore G Warner. We are going through England, Spain, Italy, France, and Germany on this episode. We are 8-3 on our ultimate best bets. What I do is I give out my favorite pick from each of the countries, pick my favorite one, end of the show, and we've had a great start to this season, and we're going to try to keep that going. A really good run on ultimate best bets last year. I think we were about 68%, really close to a nice 69, but we're here and we're currently above that at 73%, 8-3 so far year to date. I'm going to tweet this out to make sure everyone knows that we are live. Trying to do this on Friday closer to the kickoff times. So we might even get some lineups discussion in there as Germany should be out in about 5 minutes. And they're the last league I cover, so we should have more than enough time to get a full slate going for that matchup. Then maybe check in on what's playing in France and in Spain on this Friday, October 17th. Hope you all are well. Want to thank new YouTube subscribers up to 205. Still have 1 million left to go to charge ads. So you are all in great shape. Not having to worry about that. But it's time to start where the money is, and let's do it in England. We'll start with there's no Friday match today, but we do have a Saturday. So we'll start with the big onslaught of games, of course, but we'll start with Nottingham Forest hosting Chelsea. Currently, Forest half a goal underdogs right now at home, a little bit more. G's totals 2 3/4. G's pretty heavily to over right now. So Chelsea, they're great at getting red cards. They're also great at spending money, and we're not sure about the returns on that so far. Nottingham Forest are completely lost, and a lot because their manager or sporting director doesn't seem to get along with each other. That's what forced Nuno out the door, and Nottingham Forest have had a pretty rough start under Ange Postecoglou. Forest have a great home field. They have played really conservatively as a squad, as a club, and it's what got them into the Europa League this season, where things have not gone great for them so far. Choked the lead, I believe, or maybe got a draw at Real Betis their first matchup, ended up losing at home to Midtjylland, a minnow from Denmark. So things have not been going great, but I always lean to home underdogs, as anyone knows. So that's the only way I could really lean here, as I think the ceiling for a home underdog is far higher than a road favorite. So that's something I always look at across any podcast. If you can listen to me on here or on pregame.com, you know that home underdogs are kind of my bread and butter, as they would say in England, but won't do any more of those type of pronunciations again, I promise you all. With that said, I lean to Nottingham Forest. They are currently half a goal underdog. I don't really have much of a feel for the total. Chelsea can score a lot of goals. They sometimes can't. I don't know that I feel strongly enough about this matchup. So we'll move to the big slate of games starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time in the United States, 9 a.m. God's time in Texas. We'll start with Brighton. They are pick'em to Newcastle. More juice on the Newcastle Geordie away team. Total is 2.5, and it is used very heavily to over right now. So Brighton are one of those squads that are forever going to sell their players, mainly to Chelsea, for heaps of money. But they're pretty talented. They've got good structure, and I think their analytics team is certainly stronger, and it seems to persist despite the manager. In spite of the manager, or the managers seem to always get a young hotshot. One interested. De Zerbi has left for Olympique de Marseille after a single year. Fabian Hutzler has stuck around after leading St. Pauli to the Bundesliga in Germany after a long time in the Schweizerliga, the second division. But Newcastle, I think, is more interesting to me to look at because they have drastic home splits versus how they perform on the road. They're great at home, and I think they're a little bit more easy to beat or more easily to find money and win money against away from home. I lean to Brighton currently as the cheaper pick 'em right now, so pretty much an underdog. But I think I'm more interested in seeing if they climb to a quarter goal underdog. Doesn't look like we're going to see that. We probably won't, but that's certainly where I lean. Not really have a great feel for the total. Lean to under 2.5 if anything. But I think I could be. I'm not an overplayer as anyone, especially Joe Dollar, longtime Patreon.com subscriber. If you're interested in that and trying to get my plays across all sports, Patreon.com. So that's a real underscore G Warner. But I don't think overs are ever going to be for me. Sorry, Joe, and all. And I guess I have some interest in under here, but it's not a strong lead at the moment. Moving next to Crystal Palace, quarter goal favorites at home to Bournemouth. Total is 2.5, juice more to the under with more juice on the home team. So two of my favorites, teams that I've been backing all season since last season. Unfortunately, they're playing each other, so that does potentially limit my at least two of my bets this week because they're playing each other. I am interested in Bournemouth as the underdog away from home, quarter of a goal right now, and lean to under 2.5 as well. Crystal Palace to me is a really solid defense, which makes it hard for me to want to be against them because I don't know how much Bournemouth will score away. But Semenyo or Antoine Semenyo is just so incredible, and there's so much great things behind the scenes at Bournemouth with to me, one of the best manager hires you could have ever done. And I'm surprised every day that Anthony Iraola has not moved to a bigger club. But until that happens, I'll lean to the underdog away from home anytime Anthony Iraola is getting any sort of cushion or spread. I'm interested in that side for sure. It is a really tough spot going on the road to Crystal Palace. And we have seen more goals from them than I think you'd expect after selling Eberechi Eze and also Mikel Olise in the last two seasons. But for now, I'll lean to the road underdog, though I probably want a little bit more to fade that awesome home crowd in the east side of London. Moving next to Manchester City, they're hosting Everton. Currently, City 1.25 goal favorites with almost all the juice. Totals 2.75. Juice more to the over. So Man City has had a bit of a resurgence. I don't know that I necessarily believe it. I mean, they're pretty big favorites on the road at Monaco. Couldn't in Champions League, couldn't hold on to a lead there. Erling Haaland has been awesome, but a lot of his goals have been late. And to me, I think he's still made that squad worse despite all the goals he scores. Everton, to me, you've probably heard this on this podcast a million times. David Moyes, when he goes on the road, he does not go on the road to entertain. So I expect Everton to sit in from the beginning, and they will do everything they can to make this a difficult non-walk in the Manchester Park for Manchester City. So I'll lean to Everton under 2.75. My strongest interest in that one rather than the side. I do like getting more than a goal, but I just don't know that Everton score, which I think points under more than it does point to the underdog. Moving next to Burnley hosting Leeds. Currently Burnley quarter goal underdogs right now with more juice on the Leeds side. Total is 2.25. Juice very heavily to under right now. Burnley and Leeds both came up this season, so I'm pretty surprised to see the disrespect for Burnley at home. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Leeds have been great at home, but they're not at home in this matchup, obviously, since they're on the road. Lean to the home underdog and to under 2.25, as I think those numbers are a little bit silly to me at the moment. 2.25 under makes sense because these are not high scoring teams. But even then, I think a goalless draw is very possible here. I'm just not really a believer in what Leeds have done offensively. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he's been a long time since he's been anywhere near an English international, and I guess you never lose that, but certainly not a big threat to score goals. And Leeds as a road favorite just doesn't make a lot of sense unless Burnley has lost every player in the midweeks where they don't have a lot of guys playing internationally. To the last of the 10 a.m. Eastern time window, Sunderland, quarter goal favorites to Wolves. Wolverhampton, with all the juice right now at that quarter of a goal underdog, total is 2, just all the way to over. So Sunderland have been one of my favorite teams so far this season. They've been extremely profitable in the underdog position. A little bit weird seeing them as a favorite here, especially as a promoted side to Wolves, who've been in the Premier League since I can remember. But Wolves have not been playing well. They have re-signed a manager who came in and saved the team last year, but really saved the squad because the other teams all went down that were recently promoted. Sunderland have made some great buys. They've brought in some great players. Nori Mukiele has been awesome. Granit Xhaka is one of the most stable central midfielders, still killing it for Switzerland on the international stage as well at an advanced age. I'm waiting for Sunderland to move to a pick'em here. It was there earlier in the week, or I guess ever since the last match they finished, because we did have the international break. But I'm looking to see that number fall to pick'em. For now, I'll lean to under 2. I just want to be against the Wolves offense because I don't think they can score. To the nightcap on Saturday, Fulham, 1-goal underdog right now at home to Arsenal. More juice than Arsenal away. Totals 2.5, juice all the way to under. Fulham, to me, have been screwed by the baseball on the mind, by refereeing and PGMOL, I mean, multiple times this season, but have been doing a great job of taking and scoring the first goal and then conceding 3. Happened at Aston Villa, I believe, also on the road at Bournemouth, and terrible weather. They need to fix that, especially because Arsenal can score goals and have so much depth to their squad this season, unlike most in the past years. I'll lean to Fulham, get a full goal of insurance in a West London type of, or London derby, which means a lot more, I think, to the smaller club. Arsenal have a lot more riding on it trying to win the Premier League this season. But I'll also lean to under 2.5. Arsenal seem to really just silence their opponents. So I think that even might be the stronger interest for me than the +1. Just Fulham have been scoring. They haven't been defending very well. They tried three center backs on the road at Bournemouth before the international break. I wonder if they go back to that, though I think it was a lot because they didn't have a striker to put a healthy one to put on the pitch. But for now, I'll lean to both home underdog and under, probably stronger lean to under in that matchup. Moving to Sunday, we have Tottenham hosting Aston Villa. Tottenham half a goal favorite at home. All the juice on Villa away. Totals 2.5. Juice more to the over. Aston Villa have been playing better lately. They were a cash cow auto fade for most of the season. Then actually, surprisingly, Europa League kind of got them back in gear. I'm not really a believer though in what they've shown. I don't think they score goals. I think Ollie Watkins has been a disappearing act, and I can't believe that John McGinn and his whatever this is celebration will be able to score goals and keep the team afloat for too long. Unai Emery's defense is always there, so I'll lean under 2.5 in this matchup. I don't know necessarily where I kind of rank Tottenham right now. I mean, were up to second in the Premier League when they finished their matchup in the early window on Saturday, the 4th of October, excuse me. I don't know that they're that good, but Thomas Frank can score goals, and that certainly puts the under threat, especially at home. To the last, I guess the biggest matchup of the week, the top spiel of England, if we're using German terminology. Liverpool, 1-goal favorites in a big rivalry matchup with Manchester United, one team clearly on far better times than the other. All the juice on Manchester United totals 3.25, juice very heavily to over right now. Manchester United have had good experiences with this in the past. I think have been probably far better than their club has performed in this matchup than they have through the rest of them. I don't know that I want Manchester United as 1-goal underdog. I do think that they're going to really defend and try to keep Liverpool out. And I also think Liverpool's offense is stellar, but maybe overrated. And their defense, which has had problems, I think can do a fairly good job of keeping Manchester United quiet because Manchester United will be doing everything they can to keep this as low scoring as possible. I think under 3.25 is my biggest interest. I'll lean to a full goal of insurance on a big club like Manchester United because they have spent millions and billions of dollars, though they have not gotten much of a return from it. To the Monday matchup, a rare one, at least so far this season. West Ham United, a pick'em with all the juice at home to Brentford. Totals 2.5, juice very heavily to under right now. I don't know who's backing West Ham to win a match. They have to do that now. I'll be waiting for Brentford to climb to a quarter-goal underdog. I'll lean that way. Lean to under 2.5 as well with Nuno Espirito Santo. I expect this to be a very low-scoring matchup, which certainly favors the underdog. I'll lean to under 2.5 at present, but would love to get a quarter of a goal underdog before the kickoff on Monday, the 20th of October, 9 p.m. or so, or 8 p.m. In England. For the ultimate best bet from England, though, I think the easiest one or the most reasonable is a Burnley either side or total. I'll go Burnley under 2.25 goals. I think there's a little bit more safety in that than playing the side. I don't see Burnley scoring a lot. I don't see Leeds scoring a lot either. We move now to Spain, where we should have lineups in about 30 minutes. We'll see if we're still live on this podcast at that point. I also want to make sure to check in. Sound check is good. Thank you, Anderson Hernandez. I appreciate that. Thank you, all of you who are in here live. Joe Dollar throwing out a draw plus 235. Don't know what you're talking about on that one. Sorry, I haven't been focusing on this window. I thought this was the FP1 live watch along. Surprised you're not there in person. Yeah, you know. Unfortunately, Dallas and Austin are a little bit far apart, sadly, 3 hours, and couldn't get all the way down there. Arsenal with under 3.25, plus 125. Another throw out from Joe Dollar. 0-0 has written all over it. That is, I think, the Liverpool matchup. Manchester United over, I don't know, guess not. Manchester United over 1.5 team total plus 175. That is certainly a statement that you don't believe in the Liverpool defense. I don't either. I think Arne Slot is an awesome manager, gives great interviews, but I do wonder, like, the dominance that Liverpool won the Premier League last season, I think was completely overvalued or they didn't deserve it. So I'm not really a believer that it occurs. But thanks all you for coming in here. I'll try to focus a little bit more now that everyone I know is live and in here. Okay, back to Spain. Unless I missed anything more. I don't think so, but Anderson, please holla if the sound goes off or something like that. Holla Joe Dalla as well. Okay, back to Spain. So we'll start with Real Oviedo hosting Espanyol. Currently, Real Oviedo are a pick'em. All the juice on Espanyol. Total is 2, just a little bit more to over. And this match kicks off in about an hour and 20 minutes. Real Oviedo, newly promoted side after 25 years, nearly closed. 'Cause needed a like a crowdfunding or something like that way back when. Headed by Sid Lowe of all people, English reporter, does works for ESPN, and I was doing La Liga broadcasts as well this season. Espanyol have been great. They were recently promoted or promoted last season. Were awesome. Were great to bet, especially at home. It's a little different away from home this year, but still deserve to be favorite. And I'm kind of waiting to see if they move to a quarter goal favorite because the juice is certainly pointing that way. Oviedo have been good at home. They're going to do everything they can to keep this as low scoring as possible. For that reason, I'm into the home underdog, but I want a quarter of a goal. We don't have that yet. I'll lean to under 2 in that Friday matchup. Moving to Saturday, Sevilla hosting Mallorca in the early matchup, 7 a.m. Central Time here. We'll see if I'm awake for that. Sevilla, half a goal favorite. Almost all the juice total is 2.25. Juice more to the under. So Mallorca have not shown any ability to score goals. Vedat Morici, La Pirata looks very old. And so does the strategy that Mallorca is employing. I think Sevilla are improving, but still have a long way to go to get to Europa League champions of years past when they won it seemingly every year. Under 2.25, my biggest interest in this one. I think Mallorca go to stall, and I think it will work. Barcelona then hosts Girona in a Catalonian derby. Currently, Barcelona 2-goal favorites, a little bit more juice, totals 3.75, and the juice is split. Girona have been a disaster this season. I got no interest in their side, even getting 2 goals of insurance, nor in the total, though it's dropped from 4 to 3.75, as it seems like some of the market does not believe there will be scoring in this matchup. Villarreal then hosts Real Betis. Currently, Villarreal half a goal favorites right now, with a little bit more juice on Betis. Total is 2.75, juiced almost all the way to over. Actually, it is all the way to over. We'll see when the 3 ends up popping. Villarreal have improved after really looking like the cupboard was bare. They've done a good job of improving and building or bringing in some talent, kind of unknown names, but they've been performing. Real Betis certainly are a goal scoring club this year. Their defense has really missed a lot of their best players, Llorente and Marc Bartra, who still is not great in my opinion, but those are their chosen two. They've been out for a while. We'll see if they return. But one of the broadcasts recently, Graham Hunter, was going in on Natan, I believe, and saying he just has too many mistakes in him. For that reason, I don't think I want much to do with underdog or total here. I want to make sure the Betis defense is healthier, and they're still missing that Isco guy who had a weird leg break apparently right before the season started. To the Saturday nightcap, we have Atletico Madrid, a 1.25 goal favorite with all the juice to Osasuna. Total is 2.5, juice more to the over, and I expect Osasuna to be really, really rigid defensively. The problem is that Atleti have kind of learned they are past their struggles to start the season. Destroyed Eintracht Frankfurt in the Champions League, beat Real Madrid right afterwards, and expect those 2 results back to back. Osasuna, I think if anything, I'll play under 2.5 at present. Certainly we'll wait to see where that number goes. Would love to see it higher. But I think Osasuna, they've got goal scoring problems. They need to stay in this match and keep Atleti off the scoreboard as long as possible. I think that can happen, so I'll lean under 2.5 for now. Moving to Sunday, Elche hosting Athletic Club Bilbao. Currently, Elche quarter goal underdogs with all the juice on Athletic Club. Total is 2.25, juice all the way to under. Elche have been awesome since being re-promoted after pretty much being the yo-yo club that goes up and down faster than Pam Anderson on a boat with Tommy Lee. I don't know if anyone catches that reference, but Athletic Club Bilbao, they've been really got off to the perfect start, won all 3 of their first 3 matches, and then have literally hit the skids. A lot, I think, due to Nico Williams being injured as well. Unfortunately, that's a problem. I guess I'm seeing some more comments. Here we go. $1. Barca win and under 4.5. I mean, you are getting certainly a much more expensive under there at 4.5, but I feel like 5-0s are very possible for Barcelona, so I'd be scared on that one. Real Betis, both teams to score in over 2.5. That seems a little bit more sensible, and it seems like you are paying a little juice for the totals while you are dropping them in your parlays. Makes sense if that's your type of strategy, Joe. I think Elche, back to this matchup, I think they're a great value getting a quarter of a goal. Lean to under 2.5, or excuse me, under 2.25, because Athletic Club have not been scoring. But I think Elche, they're going to try to possess the ball. Athletic Club might be pushed into a counterattacking position. That's good and where Athletic Club want to be, but it hasn't really been that effective this season. So I think strongest interest for me is the home underdog. Moving next to Celta de Vigo hosting Real Sociedad. Currently Celta quarter goal favorites with all the juice. Totals 2.5. Juice a little bit more to under as I wear a Real Sociedad shirt. I try to wear shirts that are relevant to the podcast I'm doing, and there's no Europe for Real Sociedad this year, so that's all you're going to see this show on or this shirt on for is the domestic matches, which is a big step down for them. And I think their play has kind of reflected it. I think under 2.5 is my biggest interest in this one. Don't really have much interest in backing Real Sociedad. Those Celta Vigo have not been great this season either. Moving next to Levante, hosting Rayo Vallecano. Currently, Levante a pick'em. All the juice on Rayo away from home. Total is 2.5. Juice very heavily to under. So Levante, our newly promoted side, they're a yo-yo club. They've been up. I saw them live actually in Sevilla. Ship 5 goals a couple seasons ago. Rayo have not been playing great. They're seemingly the same style, just sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Certainly, the start of the year has not been great, but I do think Levante are going to fight to keep this as low scoring as possible, as will Rayo. So under 2.5 looks interesting to me there. To the nightcap on Sunday, we have Getafe, a 1.25 goal underdog with all the juice right now, almost at home to Real Madrid. I expect that to change. Maybe see this close 1.5. Total is 2.5, and it's juiced more to the under. Getafe are going to do their best to keep Real Madrid out. It's not a Madrid derby, but certainly Getafe will do their best to try to get as many fans in blue to try to keep fans in white out of there. I don't know that they'll be successful, but under 2.5 is the only way I could really think about this one because I don't want to trust Getafe to score goals against Real Madrid, though they do score plenty themselves. On Monday, we have Alaves hosting Valencia. Currently, Alaves quarter goal favorites right now with a little bit more juice, totals 2, and it's juiced all the way to over. Alaves are not a team that I expect to score many goals. Valencia had a good run, and then, of course, like in pure Valencia ADN VCF fashion, they've really struggled to keep up the good vibes and the talents and all those sort of things. Did a good win at home to Athletic Club Bilbao, and then had an extra day after a rain-out postponement and coughed up a lead against Real Oviedo. So I think Valencia still are interesting to me as a quarter goal underdog, but I think under 2 is my biggest interest in that matchup. As for my best bet on this episode of, or I guess the Spanish portion of the episode, I think Elche as a quarter goal underdog is the most interesting to me, and getting plus money, potentially get a half of a goal. So if they get a home result, then you can make your full money. I don't even know that I necessarily need it. I think a quarter goal is enough, especially for how poorly Athletic Club Bilbao have been playing. Let's get out of here as I click the wrong button, and let's make sure we're still live and allowed. Yeah, Real Sociedad is having a rough season. I agree, Joe. But that's what happens when you force your Copa del Rey winning manager out or don't keep him, or he decides to resign. And I think we've seen maybe the peaks of Real Sociedad. I'm concerned that we might see a valley coming up soon. We'll move now to Serie A in Italy. We'll start with Pisa as we lean, and they are hosting Verona. Currently, Pisa pick 'em right now with all the juice. Total is 2, just all the way to over. So Verona have been a godsend to me over the years. They've been a great underdog, and I feel like I'm be waiting for them to climb to a quarter goal underdog here. I don't trust Pisa to score goals. I think Juan Cuadrado ended up arriving there, and they've added some players to a promoted side from Serie B. I don't trust them though, so I'll lean to under 2 for now, waiting for 2.25 to pop, and certainly for Verona to hit a quarter of a goal underdog. Lecce then hosts Sassuolo, and a surprise road favorite here. Sassuolo with all the juice right now at Pick'em. I'll certainly be waiting for Lecce to climb to a quarter goal underdog. We'll lean to the Pick'em right now. Also under 2.25, as I don't trust Sassuolo away from home to score goals. Lecce had a really good draw late with Bologna a couple weeks ago when Bologna were coming off Europa League. I'm not sure that's a guarantee. Will that happen again? I just don't trust Sassuolo as a newly promoted side to be a road favorite. The Lecce are certainly very down, and the market appears like they are projecting a relegation finally for the club from Puglia. We'll move next to Torino, 3/4 goal underdog at home with all the juice to Napoli. Total is 2.25, juice more to the under. Napoli, I mean, they went from try to win every match 1-0, spend a ton, then they won the Scudetto, spent a ton of money on players, kept Antonio Conte, who was rumored to go back to Juventus, and then they've been playing really offensively and not playing as well as I kind of expected for the names they brought in. Maybe that happens when you bring in a completely new roster. Torino on the other side, they seem to be trying to figure things out as they go. I think the 3/4 goal underdog is the biggest interest for me right now. Also, if I'm leaning that way, I'll probably lean to under 2.25, but the total feels very small to me. Usually I trust Serie A and kind of where they're projecting things, but we'll see on this one and where it ends up on Saturday, almost afternoon time here in the U.S. This is 11 a.m. Central Time kickoff. To the nightcap on Saturday of Roma, quarter goal underdogs at home to Inter Milan. Total is 2.25, juice more to the over, a little bit more on the home underdog as well. Roma, I mean, incredible to see 3 consecutive penalties, 1 missed, 2 retaken, all get stopped. in Europa League, but welcome to being part of my Europa League pool roster. Unfortunately, Roma were my first pick, I think, for the second straight season, and things do never go well for them in great positions. With that said, Inter, who are also on my Champions League roster in the same type of pool, Inter have been really, I think, turning their season around after a really rough start that probably shouldn't have been. But I think Roma as a home underdog are very interesting to me, getting that quarter of a goal, lean to under 2.25, because the Gasparini Atalanta is certainly not in play at Roma just yet. We'll see what it ends up turning into, but I think the home underdog is valuable. Move to Sunday now. We have, yeah, Joe actually wants to go over 1.5 team total on Napoli. I mean, possible. Torino have had some really bad showing so far this year. I don't know. I feel like the total is very low. Maybe Napoli get both the goals there, but it feels like Serie A is expecting, or the market is expecting, a low scoring game there. Moving to Sunday, Como, a quarter goal underdog at home with all the juice to Juventus. Total is 2.25, juice slightly more to over. Juve's defense has been an offense at this point, and I think for that reason, I don't think I want to play any sort of total at 2.25. It seems low. The market's been expecting low scoring matches from Juventus, but I think Como getting a quarter of a goal, it's really weird to want to back them. But as a home underdog, I feel like it's a rare occasion for them. Yes, they're playing the best teams in Italy, but Juventus have been really kind of stealing games late or couldn't hold on to a lead against Villarreal in the Champions League after stealing a draw against Borussia Dortmund, an 8-goal thriller. Juve need to figure things out, and I don't know that they do it on the road at Como, who've been a darling of the Serie A market for years now, at least two of them. Cagliari then hosts Bologna still on Sunday. Cagliari quarter goal underdogs with all the juice on Bologna away. Total is 2.25, juice all the way to under. Cagliari have been playing really low scoring matches at home. I don't really trust them to score goals. Bologna away, I mean, they're certainly a much more talented team, but they have Europa League coming up. They are, to me, not the same offense they were a couple seasons ago, though really defense got them into the Champions League. I think Cagliari under 2.25 is my biggest interest in that matchup. Genoa then hosts Parma. Currently, Genoa quarter goal favorites with all the juice. Total is 2 and juice all the way to over. I don't know what Genoa offense we're kind of projecting here, but they have not scored goals for ever since Patrick Vieira took over last October, I believe. So that's a year ago. Parma have not looked great offensively either. I'll lean to the quarter goal underdog, but more strongly to under 2, and would love to see half of a goal on the underdog if it climbs up there. Atalanta then hosts Lazio. Currently, Atalanta 3-quarter goal favorites, a little bit more juice. Totals 2 3/4, juice all the way to under. Lazio, I guess they had transfer issues or a ban and weren't able to do much, but they brought a bunch of players back who were out on loan as a kind of a way around it. And I think they're more talented than this line suggests. I lean to the underdog at 3/4 of a goal. Atalanta, to me, bringing in Ivan Juric is just not an answer to building the club forward. I think they're going to come down. It's been not as bad so far to start. Had to come from behind to beat Bruges in a big revenge game after Atalanta were knocked out by Bruges last season. I think Lazio are worth the look because I think they're undervalued so far this season. To the nightcap on Sunday, Milan, a 1-goal favorite to Fiorentina. Juice is split both ways in that one. Totals 2.5, just a little bit, 2 cents more to under. Fiorentina is a full goal insurance. I think that's a lot, even on the road at Milan. I'm not a believer in the Massimiliano Allegri changeover. He's still a defensive manager. He's been more offensive so far this year. I expect those cheetah spots to come back, and I expect Milan to struggle, even though they've got off to a great start. I guess I leaned under 2.5 there because I don't really expect Milan to score much. But Fiorentina is a 1-goal underdog, I think, is a bigger interest for me. To the Monday match, we have Cremonese hosting Udinese. Currently, Cremonese in the battle of the Ezes are a quarter goal underdog at home with all the juice totals 2.25, just pretty heavily to under right now. Udine, I think, on the road as a favorite is something I'd like to be against. Love the start for the season for Cremonese. We'll see if they can keep that up. Also lean to under 2.25 goals. I don't expect a lot of scoring there. For my best bet in Italy, before I want to make sure I don't miss any Joe Dollar comments. He left off with just Napoli, so I'll take that one down for now. But I'll go with Roma, quarter goal underdogs at home to Inter. We'll now move to Ligue 1 in France, and we're 7 minutes from, actually, this lineup should already be out. So I'll start with this one. PSG and Strasbourg, we're seeing some movement here. Strasbourg was high, I believe, as 1 3/4 goal underdogs, if I'm not mistaken. No, they were not. They were 1.5 getting odds. My projection was 1 3/4, but they've been coming down ever since and are currently at 1 1/4 goal underdogs to PSG. Total is 3 1/4, just pretty heavily to over right now. That total has been getting juiced more and more aggressively to under, but now I've come back and are going in the over direction. And that's something I will look at now. PSG Strasbourg FC. Let's look at these lineups so I can do this live while we're here. Of course, they're not showing them. Great. So I'll go to the PSG Twitter account. That seems to be usually good. Um, all right, from the Parc des Princes in Paris. You can see it apparently uh, from Roland Garros. You can see the stadium in the same type of spot. Okay, are we just holding out on this lineup for some reason? What's going on here? PSG Strasbourg. Come on, baby. And this is where everything going live. Okay, PSG report. This is not, I guess, from the official account, but we have certainly seen some forward issues for PSG in recent seasons or recent weeks, excuse me. But they did win at Barcelona in Champions League despite having only one real of their attacking three available. It's better today. So Chevalier in goal, awesome goalkeeper, will probably be number one in France sooner rather than later. Um, Zaire Emery at right back is a little bit of fill-in. Zabarni is a normal center back. Beraldo, same. And Lucas Fernandez is a backup left back. But all those players are really talented. In the middle, we have Desiree Doué, back from injury. Seni Mayulu, who's younger but is certainly looking more like a capable player as well. And Kangan Lee, who's been one of the best creators in Spain that moved to France and hasn't played as much, but very talented midfield as well as always. To the front line, which is where most of the absentees have been, we have Bradley Barcola, who's been around and has been in the lineup all season. Up top, it's striker Gonzalo Ramos, and we have Ibrahima Mbaye on the right side. He's probably the youngest, least known, but that's still a pretty strong lineup for. I don't really get why market is betting Strasbourg, but they are. Look at the Strasbourg 11. Mike Penders in goal. That's normal. Ducouré, Augsburg, and Ben Chilwell. Makes sense in the back line. Doué as well. Ouattara, El Murabet, Barco, Morera, and Ciso, and Panicelli, Argentine. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that because I never know if it's the Italian version. It probably is. But this team, I mean, Paya's on the bench, a young Ecuadorian, I believe, or Venezuelan, has been awesome. I don't really see why this line is dropping based on the lineup, I gotta say. So I'm gonna move on to the next matchup in France, but hopefully that's a little bit more to the point type of information you might be looking for on a live podcast with lineups coming out and matches starting in 33 minutes in Germany, which we'll get to in a second. On the Saturday card, we have Nice, a pick 'em with all the juice at home to Lyon. Total is 2 3/4, just very heavily to under. Nice have been really bad to start this season. I've been falling in that trap, unfortunately. I would like them to be a favorite so I could look at Lyon. They're not there yet, so I'll lean to Nice at pick 'em, though it is not a strong lean, I must say that. I'll lean to Strasbourg, of course, in that first matchup, but 1 1/4 seems very cheap to me, so I don't think I want much to do with that at the moment. To the next matchup on Saturday of Angers hosting Monaco. Angers 1 goal underdogs with all the juice, totals 2 3/4 with all the juice to over. Monaco to me are a good road team because they're used to not having a home field advantage, and then they've got a bunch of construction going on at the Stade Louis II as well. Angers to me though are a very talented team that play well together. They don't have the big names, but they play well. They cover the spreads a lot. I like the +1. I like under 2 3/4, though I'd certainly want a 3 there if I'm going to play it. Monaco, not exactly a defensive side, even under Adi Hütter, who's been a defensive manager in the past, stops in Germany. Move to the nightcap on Saturday. Marseille hosting Le Havre. Currently, Marseille 1.5 goal favorites. More juice on Le Havre away. Total is 3, juice all the way to under. Le Havre are going to go in and try to keep this as low scoring as possible. That is a scary setup for going to the Stade Orange Velodrome. And I expect Marseille to be able to score goals. I don't think I want much to do with that matchup on this nightcap on Saturday. Moving to Sunday, we have Lens hosting Paris, the other version, the FC Paris. Lens are a 1/2 goal favorite with more juice, totals 2 3/4, juice all the way to over. Feels like the market's coming around and not really believing in Paris as much as they were earlier in the season. Lens have been playing a lot better after a really rough run at home. They've been better. I don't think there's much for me in this matchup, honestly. Lorient then hosts Stade Brestois. Currently, Lorient 1/4 goal favorites with all the juice on Brest away from home. Totals 2.5, juice slightly more to under. Now, Stade Brestois have moved to a 1/4 goal underdog. I like that because I don't think Lorient are strong, newly promoted side. Their defense has been really bad, and I still really like the core that Stade Brestois are, even though their goalkeeper left for Aston Villa. Moving to next, we'll go to Rennes hosting Alger. Currently, Rennes 3/4 goal favorites. All the juice on Alger away. Totals 2.5, juice all the way to over. Now, Rennes have been really improved. Went through 3 managers last season, got very defensive towards the end, but have been improving offensively since. Spent some money as well, brought in some players, especially from their some Nantes old boys, which I guess caused some big problems and fractures at the club. But it seems like that's a thing of the past. With that said, Alger are interested in me getting at 3/4 of a goal, so they have to lose by more than a goal to lose here. They do want to play an offensive game, but I think Rennes will probably dictate the tempo here at home. So lean to the road underdog and a little bit to under 2.5. To the next matchup, we have Toulouse, 1 goal favorites at home to Metz. Currently, total is 2.5, juice more to the over, and a ton of juice on the Mets +1 right now. So we might see this fall a little bit lower. Mets have been scoring a bunch, so I don't know that I want much to do with it under 2.5. That doesn't really give a ton of value on an underdog, though, to do like a single goal of insurance to push there if they lose by 1. So I'll put that on my list. Mets +1. Last but not least, Nantes hosts Lille. I believe this is another derby matchup, though I think Nantes and Rennes is the bigger one, so that's probably wrong. Nantes 3/4 goal underdogs at home with all the juice totals 2.5, juice almost all the way to over. Lille got that huge win at Roma in the Europa League. I don't think that they're anywhere near the same talent structure that they were in Champions League that had them out in front, pacing everything last season, but they've been playing well. Big road favorite, though, so I'll lean to Nantes 3/4 of a goal, especially the big crowd behind them. For my best bet from France, let's see if Joe's got anything on. Here we go. Okay. Knew we'd have something. We have Hakimi, or spelled Hakami, 1+ shot on goal, even money right now. Certainly, that is one of the most attacking right backs in the world. Would not expect a shot. Guess it has to be on target for be a shot on goal, probably. And that's a big question. I imagine Strasbourg are going to be not naive, as they probably want to play a little bit with the ball, but I think we're going to see them sitting behind the ball and playing defensively. So that might limit the odd man rushes. I guess it's a hockey term. But for my best bet in France, I'm going to go with, Angers, a 1 goal underdog at home. Very interesting to me. So I'll go SCO, Sport Club Oeste, or West Sport Club. If we're translating in English, I'll go +1 on that matchup. And we'll move now to the German Bundesliga, the last match we'll cover, and we'll start in a match that starts in just 29 minutes. Union Berlin hosting Borussia Mönchengladbach. Currently, Gladbach 1/4 goal underdogs on the road with almost all the juice. Totals 2.5, juice slightly more to over here. We've been seeing some movement in this total, to say the least. Certainly, we've been seeing actually some money come in on Gladbach as well away from home, which is a little bit surprising. But we saw 2 3/4 yesterday, fell to 2.5 even, and now we're getting more and more closer to the juice being split both ways, excuse me, on under 2.5. So let's bring us some lineups. FC Union and Gladbach. Okay, so lineups for this matchup that starts in 28 minutes. We have Rono in goal for Union Berlin, the normal goalkeeper. Trimmel, the Fußball god, as they say after every name that's read. He's their creator. He's doing a lot of crosses into the box from the right wing. I just don't know how young he is. Those legs are not getting any younger. He's probably 36 now. What is he? 38, even worse. In the back three, as normal, Duki, Kerfeld, and Lecce. On the left side of Derek Cohn. In the middle, we have Kameline coming in next to Kadira. So no Schaefer, the Hungarian, who's certainly playing on international duty, and no Yannick Haberer. Tim Skarka, who's a speed merchant, but hasn't really had enough open space. He should, especially for an Union side that sits and wants to counterattack, but I'm not sure they'll be able to do that against Gladbach today. Ilyas Ansah, a young player who's started off the year really, really well, did not start at Leverkusen in the last match before the break, which is a surprise, and Andrej Ilic, who seems to be the number 9, though he wears 23. On the Gladbach side, still using a youth team head coach, which surprises me after they got rid of Giovanni Seoane or something like that. Nicolas in goal. That's probably normal. Still waiting for Omlin to take his job back. Joe Scally, the American, who also does all of the English or the interviews post game in English and was really pissed fairly recently. Friedrich in the middle is a name coming back from injury. He was actually signed from Union Berlin, if I remember correctly, and really has not done much. Was nowhere near as talented as he was at Union, as he's done at Gladbach. Elvedi on the left side, starting for Switzerland in the international break, so he's clearly made of of stronger stuff than others. Kevin Dix, what a name, left back on the other side. In the midfield, we have a lot of midfielders here with Engelhard Sander and Rocco Reitz, John Kastrup as well. Might be an attacker, but I don't know that I agree so much with that. Florian Neuhaus, who's been in and out of the team for years now, and Aris Tabakovic as the striker up front. I don't see a lot of goals in the Gladbach side, I got to say. My underlean was initially where I was headed in this one, and I see no reason to change that. I don't love losing the 2 3/4 to this current 2.5. But I don't really see a lot of goals coming in this one, so still lean under 2.5 in that matchup. Moving to Saturday, we have the big traditional window, 3:30 local time in Germany, where everyone gets mad if they're not playing in that time zone. But welcome to Europa League and TV rights and things of that nature. Cologne will start as a half a goal favorite to Augsburg. All the juice on Augsburg away. Total is 3. Juice more to the under, and put some respect on FC Cologne at this point. Newly promoted side or yo-yo club that goes up and down all the time. Best start, I think, as a promoted club in Bundesliga history for them, and they probably deserve to be favorites. Augsburg have been really unimpressive. Cologne are scoring a ton of goals. I think Augsburg are going to play really defensively here, but we'll see if their manager has that in him because it hasn't looked that way so far, and they moved on from Yestrup, and it seems to be really stupid to me. I'll lean to under 3. I love the push there, but it's not a strong one at the moment. Mainz 05, then host by Leverkusen. Currently Mainz a pick'em at home. All the juice on Leverkusen away. Totals 2 3/4. Juice all the way to under. So Mainz are an energetic side, and that's why they beat teams. I think they can out energy Leverkusen, but they also are playing in the Conference League this year, and that might zap some of that energy. But coming off an international break where they still don't have a lot of international players, maybe Nadim Erim, Nadim Amiri, there we go. Captain. It certainly has played for Germany in the past. Decided not to play for Afghanistan, I believe is where he's from, but Afghanistan. But I think Mines, as they pick them, is what I'm interested in here. I'm still looking to fade by Leverkusen. I don't think they've been good for a couple seasons and overplayed in that incredible undefeated streak. But I guess when momentum begins. Moving next to Leipzig, hosting Hamburg. Currently, RB Leipzig, a 1 1/4 goal favorite with all the juice. Total is 3.5. Juice a little bit more to under. Hamburg are going to go on the road and try to defend this. They have not looked to me like a Bundesliga side, but they did have a pretty good run into the international break. Don't have a lot of international players. Leipzig have gone full rebuild. I'll go under 3.5. Some big interest there. Any number above 3, I think, is interesting to go under, especially in not especially the Bundesliga because there are goals there, but that's part of the game. Moving next to VfL Wolfsburg. They're pick 'em with all the G's right now. The VfL Stuttgart currently total is 3, just very heavily to under. Stuttgart were the favorite here. That's flipped. I wonder why that is. I'm waiting to see if Stuttgart moved to a quarter goal underdog because I don't believe in Wolfsburg. I don't like their new manager and his style when they take leads. Under 3 is probably interest for me just because Wolfsburg are going to kill this matchup as soon as they take a lead, which I don't like as a favorite. But Stuttgart, let's see how they balance Europa League this year. They were in Champions League last year, though, so it shouldn't be a problem. Same manager, same a lot of things still around. I'll lean to Stuttgart there, though, if they move to a quarter goal underdog. We don't have that yet. To the last of the 3:30 local time window, 9:30 Eastern time, 8:30 Central. Football Club Heidenheim, a quarter goal underdog at home with all the juice to Werder Bremen. Total is 2 3/4. Juice all the way to over. So a lot of juice on home team and over. Werder Bremen are a better club, I think, are better situated. Heidenheim have been trying to outscore teams for years, worked really well, found them a conference league, and then nearly got them relegated last season. They look like a team that could get relegated, but Werder Bremen as a road favorite does not really gel for me. I'll lean to the quarter goal underdog at home. Would love to get a 3 right now. Don't have it, so we'll wait on that. To the Topspiel, Der Klassiker, though certainly things have looked differently in recent seasons, but Dortmund off to a good start this season. Bayern München, though, are the hosts, so Borussia Dortmund move and head on the road to Bavaria, which is actually a decently long trip in Germany. But from northwest, from the west side of the east side, at least to the southeast is where Bavaria and München are. Bayern, a 1.5 goal favorite at home, more juice by 4 cents on the Dortmund side. Totals 3.5, juice pretty heavily to over. I lean to Dortmund here just because it's a big price, but this certainly could get ugly away from home. Don't want much to do with totals, especially unders. If Joe Dollar, if you want to hear it, Bayern goals are scary enough for me that there's no unders for me there. So Here we go. Bayern Munich win and both teams score plus 140. I could see it. 5-2 final, you're thinking probably, as that's the over side of things, the Joe Dollar side of things. Moving to Sunday, Eintracht Frankfurt on the road at Sportclub Freiburg. Currently a pick'em. A little bit more juice on Freiburg at home. Total is 3, juice pretty heavily to under. Now, Eintracht Frankfurt's defense has been a big concern for me. Conceded a million goals to Atletico Madrid, then had Bayern before the international break. Scored a bunch against Galatasaray. So I think really what's most interesting for me is Sport Club Freiburg and seeing how they play at home. They play great there. I really love Monzambi, their center midfielder, who's finally back from suspension. I lean to the home team, though I would love to see an underdog here. Pretty much whoever's a quarter goal plus 1/4, I think I'm interested in. But we're both pick 'em right now. As for the nightcap on Sunday, St. Pauli hosting Hoffenheim. Currently, St. Pauli a pick 'em with all the juice totals 2 3/4, juice all the way to under. Hoffenheim have been much better away from home, which is not a surprise because they have really no home crowd whatsoever. St. Pauli, though, have been great there. I really like the way St. Pauli play. I think it's really mature. It's weird to see them in kind of a favorite type of situation. At a quarter of a goal favorite, I'm interested in Hoffenheim. We don't have that yet, so I'll lean to St. Pauli as a pick 'em right now. Could even grab St. Pauli now at pick 'em. Hopefully, they move to a quarter of a goal and back Hoffenheim and maybe get a split there or some sort of middle. I'm probably not going to do that, but certainly a decent idea. I think for total in this one, I'll lean to under 2 3/4 because I just don't expect St. Pauli games to have many goals in them. Is pretty much how I feel at this point. For my best bet in this one, I'm gonna go with, man, it's scary back in Heidenheim at home, but I think Werder Bremen seem a little bit like they're getting too much respect as a quarter goal favorite away from home when I don't really trust them to do really anything at this point. So I'll lean that way to Heidenheim quarter goal underdog as my best bet in Germany. So now it's time for the ultimate best bet. Let's see if Joe's got anything more to say. No, he's just leaving off on Bayern Munich winning both teams to score. I do expect, thanks to everyone for coming in here live. If you could leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, leave a nice comment talking about Andrew Schnicker, my NFL co-host at Andrew Schnicker, his mustache maybe, or just something that will get us some more search rankings, or subscribe on YouTube. That's what I need to do. I need to shout out a new subscriber. Thank you for coming in, of course, to everyone on there. Let me make sure I find exactly who I'm shouting out so I say this all right, and we'll see if I can pronounce this because I know that we're doing a better job internationally, which is great. New one, Alex Alejandro. Oh, black and white, it looks like. So I don't know if that means Newcastle fan, maybe. But anyway, thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate that. Alex Alejandro, Vim Vitens, Cedric Vidal, those are recent subscribers. Thank you so much for coming in. And let's get back to the thing at hand that we're doing. Patreon.com/real_G Warner. If you want my plays across all sports. Been a really rough few days in Major League Baseball, unfortunately, but we're trying to climb out of that doldrums, to say the least. It's a really good season. Unfortunately, giving a lot of that away right now. But thanks, of course, for all the support. And I guess it's time for the ultimate best bet. I'll run through what I gave for each of the leagues and a little even cherry on top. I will be playing under in that German Bundesliga matchup. Union Berlin hosting Borussia Mönchengladbach. Currently see 2.5 under -108 at Bet Online. We'll be shopping around and see if I get a better price. Would not hate 2.25 as well if you get some plus money or something like that. But for the best bet, ultimate best bet in this episode, we're 8-3 year to date. That is a nice, not all the way nice, but 73%. We'll take that. From England, I like Burnley under 2.25 goals. In La Liga in Spain, I like Elche, quarter goal underdog at home. In Serie A, I like Roma, quarter goal home underdog. In Ligue 1 in France, I like Angers +1 at home. And in the Bundesliga in Germany, I like Heidenheim, a quarter goal underdog. But for the ultimate best bet, 8-3 year to date, 73%. Let's go Elche, quarter goal underdogs at home. Could be a half by the time we get to kickoff. I just don't trust what I've seen from Athletic Club for a while. I am invested in them to finish in the top 4 position, but bad start to Champions League. Really missing Nico Williams, not really showing much offensively, and Elche have done a lot to start the season. They've been a godsend. I will continue believing in that. So Elche +1/4 as the ultimate best bet on this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. 5-star reviews, all those sort of things are great. Chase team total over 3.5. You could see that. Certainly 9 at bats certainly will help. I'm kind of just not feeling great. Certainly not back in the Brewers today. I think they get swept. I've been waiting for the Mariners to wake up and they take a lead every game. And then unfortunately, the Blue Jays offense has certainly awoken. But looking forward to watching some of that and not having any money on the line on this one. But we'll see you all soon. Thank you all for tuning in. And if you want anything or need anything, hit me up on Patreon, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram at @the_real_G Warner. And we'll talk to you all soon.